Hello, welcome back to our channel, Way Out Here. We are going to be starting a new experience today. Later this evening, my husband is going to be bringing home a nuke of bees, honeybees. So we need to get them all established before winter. So today I'm going to be making some bee patties. We're going to put out some of this dry pollen here. We got this to put the pollen in near their hive. We should have enough clover, and we've got plenty of flowers out here right now, but I don't know how much longer that will last. I'm also going to make a syrup to put in this black frame feeder. And I'm going to do all of this before they get home with the bees. So we have food and everything ready for them when we transfer them from the nucleus to our hive. So I'm going to get started on that. And okay, so the first thing that we want to do, and this is my first time doing this, but we just have one of these scales here, and everything I've read says a 1-to-1 ratio is the perfect ratio for feed this time of year. Because of the heat, some of the water will evaporate off, so you don't need to do a 2-to-1 ratio. So we're going to go by pounds. So if you have 3 pounds of sugar, you need 3 pounds of water. So we're going to do the sugar first in the jar, and I've already got 3 pounds over here. Okay, so we are getting close here. I'm kind of using a pretty small scoop to get 3 pounds in here because I want it to be as exact as I possibly can. Need a couple more ounces still. Okay. Oh, that's pretty close. Okay, so I'm going to take my jar over here and dump it in this pot, and then I need 3 more pounds of water before we turn it on. Okay. All right, same thing. We're pretty close on the water, so we're just going to add a little more until we get right as close to 3 pounds as we can. It's a little much, but that's okay. It's pretty close. And we're going to take this over here, same thing. We're going to dump it in there. All right, and now we just turn this on, get it into a light boil. And I'm just going to put it on high. Stir that in, and we want it to go until it's completely clear. So I have 3 pounds of sugar and 3 pounds of water in this pot. I'm going to add 3 more pounds of sugar and 3 more pounds of water. It didn't fit in my jar that I have on my scale, so that's why I'm kind of doing it in 2 bunches, but I'm going to cook it all down at the same time, and hopefully it will fit in 2 jars when I get completely done. So after about 45 minutes, I took the hot syrup and poured it into these mason jars. I didn't record that because I'm here by myself and I didn't really want to get burned that badly. But this is just the syrup that I had made before with the sugar water, and I'm going to let this cool off. This is like a soup strainer used to help get it in there. I'm going to let these cool off in the sink, and then I'm going to use some of them as the syrup in the beehive frame feeder, and I'm going to use some of the other syrup. I don't know exactly how much that frame feeder holds, but whatever's left over I'm going to use to make a couple of pollen patties out of our dry pollen. And we just have, this is what we could find, just dry bee food, and then it says right here that you can mix with heavy syrup to make your patties. So we're going to try that. We're going to put some patties in there. We're also going to do dry bee food too. I have another one of these. So I'm going to make one of them into patties. It's like a pound. Yeah, 1 pound. So I'm going to make 1 pound into patties probably, and then put another pound into this poultry feeder. So. Well, here is our beehive. And we have our nuke of bees. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. And we are getting ready to install them in our personal hive. Looks like a couple made their way in. Those bees?
No, those
Earwigs.
Oh, earwigs. Never mind.
Oh, look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a bee coming out. Let's see. There's one of our bees. It's about a little bit over 50 this morning, but she wiggled her way out. We're just going to take out 5 frames in the middle, replace them in the same order from the nuke in here, and then we're going to put our feeder frame on the end. So he's just going to fill the feeder frame with some syrup that I made yesterday.
It's only about half full.
Okay, we'll go get the other jar. Do you want to go get the other jar for me, buddy? Remember where it was?
Yeah, I'm good at it.
I can just
Take it back.
Okay, here's our bees. So the goal is to get them in the same order.
So pick up the whole thing, Sarah.
Yeah.
Pick up the whole thing and set it down where you can get to it easy. There you go.
Here.
There you go.
Whoa.
Let's start with this back one. Uh-oh. It's sticky. Slow. I don't want to squash a bee.
There's a few on that one. Nice. $5.
Declan, back up a little bit. Thank you. Slide it over.
My gloves are a little too big. It's a good one. Lots of bees on there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, that's a big one on that side. Ooh. Oh gosh, that's
Careful.
a lot of bees.
Yep. This is a really heavy one.
Holy cow.
There's a lot of bees on there.
Good one.
Slide it over more. On your left hand.
Big.
Just try not to squash them.
There's one on the bottom.
These are stuck together too. So,
Mm-hmm.
Some of these are dead.
so I don't know, should I break them apart? Or should I lift it up as two?
You can.
So this was a very heavy frame, but we got it in there. It had a lot on it, and I'm still new to this. We're still learning, so we didn't exactly know what was on there, but we needed to make sure we got it in there and push them a little closer together to make room for the last two. And we were kind of debating whether to leave those stuck together and pull them out as one, or do them or break them apart, and we ended up pulling them out as one. So this was a little nerve-wracking just because there were two together and we didn't want to break them apart, but we got them in there nice and snug and it seemed to work, but we needed to take out another frame because it just did not fit with having that feeder frame in there. So we took that out, ended up making it fit, and then tried really hard to get that extra frame back in there, but it just did not go. So we ended up leaving it without that frame in there and leaving the feeder frame in instead. So as you can see, we're still struggling to get that frame in there. It was just really, really tight. We were not able to get that in there in a way that we thought would be okay. So we ended up leaving that frame out and spreading some of the other frames in there, spreading them out just a little bit more. So once we get that feeder frame out of there, that other frame will fit in much better. And now all I'm doing is taking the bee patties that I made and obviously taking my gloves off so my gloves don't stick to the bee patties. I'm going to squash them flat and put them on here. And this is my first time doing bee patties, and we did not have any wax paper on hand, so I did not roll them out in advance, but they do work, and I just squashed them as flat as I could and put a couple of small ones on the top of the frames to try to entice the bees into using them as food to help build their hive. So when you're doing these bee patties, you want to, or these pollen patties, you want to make them as flat as you can because you're going to have to try to squash that lid on there. And the patties themselves will get squashed a little once you put the lid on. It's totally fine. It happens. And now we're dumping the remainder of the living bees into the hive. There's some dead ones that got in there, but we pull them out. We just want to make sure that those few live ones in there actually get in the hive. So then we're just pulling out the couple of dead bees that we poured out of the nuke and getting them out of the way so we can squash the lid onto the hive and squash those pollen patties a little bit flatter. I didn't put too many in there. I want to see if the bees are actually going to want them or need them. So we'll see how much they go through in a week, and then we'll check and we'll reevaluate if we're going to put more in there. But there was already one bee. You can see here, he's zooming in. There was one bee that found the pollen patty, and she's actually on there using it, so they may need more next time. So then we just put the lid on and close it up, squash the pollen patties down a little flatter with the lid, and then we will come back and check on this hive in a week.
Hi, welcome back. So that was quick. We're going to actually try to replace our bee patties because the lid is not sealing as well as we want it to. So we're just going to move this off. I'm going to set it over there on the other side of the compost. Ooh! Bee ran into my hand.
Don't want to get stung by that thing.
I don't have gloves on either because...
I do. Oh my god! That's so many.
No, look at them.
That's so cool.
You see? Look how many there are.
Whoa! There's so many. I wonder if there's some on the bottom side of the
Okay.
lid.
Let's take out
Wait, is there some on the bottom side of the lid?
So take out those thick, clumpy ones on Declan's side there.
Okay, so these are the bee patties that need to come off because they're just too fat for the lid to go down.
Oh,
Get those ones off,
what
Becky?
about this little guy?
You get those bee patties?
I'll take this one. What do we do with them?
Just set them over here. I'm going to take them.
in the compost?
No, I'm going to roll them out. Alright, so I rolled out the bee patties that I've already made, and these are as flat as I could really get them. I just used the pollen as flour to roll these out.
Oh no, there's a couple of dead bees in here.
That's okay. It happens.
It's alright. It's alright. Just two though.
They really seem to like these pollen patties though.
Soon there's gonna be bees already on it.
dropped in there. It's okay.
It's fine. He'll. Oh my god, there's some down there and the bees are already eating it.
Just move slowly around them, okay?
Scrap it. Can you back up a little bit so I can...
Keep the video.
I'm just going to put these little pieces all over.
Are we gonna look for the queen?
Nope.
We're going to seal them back
I'm
up.
not going to disturb them.
Alright. So that's all the ones I rolled out. That looks like plenty. Now we're going to put our lid back on. Squashing as few bees as possible, hopefully.
Oh, wait a second, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Don't squish the bees. See it somewhere?
No. It's squished.
Yeah. Oh, no.
You have to slide it over.
Oh, it's by my feet. That one. Uh-oh. Don't want to squish any bees.
I don't want to squish any bees. That's my goal. Is to
What is that one doing down there?
How are we?
That's good. That's good.
Nice and even.
Yep.
I'm not going to step on that bee.
Let's put our lid back on.
Be careful of that bee. You might step on it.
Is that better?
Yep, that's better.
Okay. So yeah, just rolled out some bee patties. Took out the chunks. I'm gonna roll those out, keep those in the fridge. Hopefully that'll do a little bit better, seal the hive a little better. But they're looking good, flying around. All right, these are just the bee patties we took out of the hive. And I'm just gonna roll these flat, put them in a Tupperware, and use them for next time. And then we are going to make more bee syrup. So we have some available and on hand if we need to top off their feed in a month, or in a week, I'm sorry, excuse me, in a week. And since we're all out, we used it all. And yeah, I'm just using the pollen to roll out the bee patties, which these bee patties are just the bee pollen mixed with the simple sugar water mixture that we put in the black feeder frame.